Emergency update. Monday crash incoming. The VIX spikes again. China retaliates again.
Pre-market, we've got futures on Nasdaq back into a bear market. So we are now officially down over 20% once again on the Nasdaq. And of course, a lot of individual stocks are also down anywhere from half to as much as over 2%, including the likes of Tesla, Nvidia getting caught in the middle of this trade escalation between US and China. Volatility is spiking over 10% right now. And more importantly, gold hitting a brand new all-time high, a level that we have never seen before in the history of the world at $3,400 per ounce. Lots to break down in this pre-market update. Make sure that you drop a like and, of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And again, the link's going to be down below if you're interested in joining our MoneyVest platform and our community on Discord with all the trade alerts, members-only updates, insightful text analysis for everyone to keep you updated with what's going on and, of course, to help you navigate in this current market environment. There's an additional 30% annual discount available until the end of this month, so just about 9 more. Absolutely incredible rally for gold since year to date. It is now up almost 30%. In the last couple of years, it's up more than double.
Actually, let's look at GLD in Outlier. I'd like to see that. In Outlier 3.0, GLD. There we go. And let me zoom into like the 6-month point. Look how instant that is. All right, so gold is right now sitting on a buy signal. Getting really greedy, though. Really greedy. I'm telling you, when anything gets really greedy, watch for snapbacks. Watch for snapbacks. You can see there was a bit of a snapback right here. Current price was around 272. This is on GLD. And snapback to around 263. So not a huge snapback. Look at this big buy. This big buy went right here. In fact, performance summary on GLD is 76%, yet only in the market 54% of the time since we started measuring this in 2020. So that's not so bad. That's not so bad. All right, let's go back over to this video here. I do want to speed it up slightly, just a 1 1/4.
Over 100% increase in gold prices. Bitcoin's also participating on this rally. It's up another $87,500. It's up over 2.7% right now as this uncertainty related to the US dollar continues, as China is now also retaliating. This actually came out on Monday morning. And take a look at DXY. I mean, just take a look at the US dollar absolutely plummeting another.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, DXY measures the value of the dollar. And you can see the value of the dollar have been going up. Okay, this is October, November, December, February. It peaked and it's been coming back down. The value of the dollar has been pretty monkey hammered actually in the last few weeks.
1.2% here on the day here on Monday morning, trading back down to under 99, so a little bit over 98. So while there are problems between Jerome Powell and of course Donald Trump, so this was a meme live on Netflix, the economic showdown between Trump and Powell. There's also other problems with other people involved, as Jensen Huang right in the middle of this trade war, as Nvidia and chips are some of the most important commodities being imported, exported all over the world. And of course, as Xi Jinping and Donald Trump go at it each other, of course, Jensen Huang semiconductor company is getting caught in the middle of this trade war. So this was as of Monday morning. So just bright and early, China vows retaliation against countries that follow US and calls to isolate Beijing. So basically, this was literally just a few hours ago. China on Monday warned it will retaliate against countries that cooperate with the US in ways that compromise Beijing's interests. So not only is the US going after other countries, now China is also shifting its focus, going to other countries that are cooperating with the US, and of course, at the expense of Beijing. So as the trade war between the world's two largest economies threatens to embroil other nations, China's warning comes as US President Donald Trump's administration is reportedly planning to use tariff negotiations to pressure US partners to limit their dealings with China. So this is not just about what US and China can do to each other. This is also about what these two countries can do to other countries to hurt each other. So this is a whole different world of hurt and pain, and the bystanders, which is a lot of these countries, to some extent, a lot of these countries do depend on either the US or China, one for manufacturing, one for consumption, are at the mercy of these two countries because they don't have a lot of leverage and they don't have a lot of quote unquote the cards right at the moment. And US and China are really the two countries that are going to be calling the shots with regards to these smaller countries that are part of these trade negotiations, but they're at the mercy of these two countries. So This is actually escalating in all the wrong ways, unfortunately, with regards to the trade war. And you'll notice China firmly opposes. That's what they said. The China Ministry of Commerce said on Monday, and I quote, China firmly opposes any party reaching a deal at the expense of China's interest. If this happens, China will not accept it and will resolutely take reciprocal countermeasures. The ministry cautioned about the risk to all countries once international trade returns to the law of the jungle. The statement also sought to cast China as willing to work with all parties and quote unquote defend international fairness and justice, while describing the U.S. actions as quote unquote abusing tariffs and unilateral bullying, is what they also mentioned. Xi Jinping was also.
Dude, I'm telling you, like I have already had a personal experience with the tariffs. So I was buying some stuff online, and a couple weeks ago, the shipping was free. And I went to buy some more this weekend, and the shipping was $100. The price hadn't changed, but the shipping was $100. And I was like, what? Not cool. Not cool. So while Trump is negotiating with China, this is going to be tremendous. It's going to be huge. If only Joe Biden had been so smart as me, because I'm the most genius man in the whole world. If only Joe Biden would have done this, we'd have been in such a better place by the end of his stupid term, the worst president in history, right? Donald Trump is saying something like that this morning. I'm already having to pay more. I am already having to pay $100 more out of my pocket for the same thing that had zero shipping cost a couple weeks ago. I'm not a happy camper in that. Not in the least. I don't know when that's going to resolve itself, but I'm not happy. No, thank you. I want this to be settled so I can get back to my free shipping. Okay, I'm done with that.
Also on tour, first international tour of 2025, going to countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Cambodia, and also encouraging to other countries to join the efforts to oppose these tariffs and said that these are quote unquote unilateral bullying as well. So, I mean, there's obviously things happening. I mean, DHL also announced that they are going to be suspending all high value deliveries to U.S. consumers because of these tariffs. So anything over $800 is now going to be suspended to individuals. Business to business shipping is still going to continue, but that's also going to be delayed. But DHL.
Wait. DHL will no longer ship goods valued over $800 to private individuals in the U.S. What? Customs threshold slashed from 2,500 to 800, creating a surge in processing demand. DHL cites multi-day delays due to tightened formal clearances now required for high-value imports, which high value just went from 2,500 to 800. Business-to-business shipments are still allowed, but delays are likely. Last week, Hong Kong suspended all U.S.-bound goods in protest, stating the U.S. is unreasonable billing. Holy moly. I don't love this.
Certainly is going to be suspending all high-value deliveries that are over $800, and that threshold's been dropped from $2,500 to $800 because of a lot of this pre-ordering, a lot of the processing that they needed to do, and of course, it's causing a multi-day delay due to the tightened formal clearances now and required for all high-value imports as well. Ford also announcing that they have halted shipments to China to avoid tariffs. I mean, this is just a one big mess that is going to unfold in front of our eyes. It is something certainly to take into account when we are looking at the markets globally, because right now pre-market, most Magnificent Seven stocks, in fact, all of them are down. S&P is down 1%. We got QQQs that are down over 1% as well. We got Google down.
The market just opened. Thank you for that, Nico. Opening up roughly about 1% down. Roughly about 1% down.
1%, Apple's down 1%, Microsoft's down 1%, SMH is down 1.6%, AMD is down 1.7%, Nvidia's down almost 2%, Tesla's down a little bit over 2%. So all Magnificent 7, all technology stocks down. Volatility is back higher, up another 10.2, back over 32. And this is an elevated volatility environment. That's what this is. This is an elevated volatility environment. So EVE is where we are sort of dealing with it, because when the VIX is above 30 and it's range bound at these elevated levels, markets find it very, very difficult to find any kind of solid footing or any kind of floor, any kind of buyers, any kind of bottom in this environment. This is exactly what we witnessed back in 2022 when the VIX was elevated. The range was much higher, between 20 and 40, 30 and 50, and that's where we kind of bouncing around, and markets continued to make new lows, and we kind of bottomed out with that bear market down over 22-24% from all-time highs. So Nasdaq most likely is going to be opening down 1%, and with that, we are once again re-entering a bear market. If we open just over 16,000, we're going to be down over 20%, and S&P 500 once again is going to be in a little bit of a deeper correction from all-time highs again, down over 15% from all-time highs if you open around 5,200 or sub 5,200. We got rejected at 54, so that was a level that I was watching last week. We got rejected there a couple times, and the next support for the S&P is going to be 5,100, and for the Nasdaq, it is really going to be all the way down here at 15,200. And look, this trade war is different in many ways. Because back in 2018, China did not have as much leverage as it does today. It has really propped up its manufacturing base. It is really a global leader when it comes to building and manufacturing. More recently, on Instagram, on TikTok, you might have noticed that a lot of these Italian brands, some of the more luxurious brands, have also been exposed that they are actually producing a lot of their luxury items, whether it's handbags or wallets or belts or sunglasses or whatever, shoes. Like a lot of these things are made in China. 95% of it is made in China, and then they're shipped over to Europe, where they put on the final finishing touches, and then they put on the tag or whatever made in.
I saw that too, and I was like, huh, these incredible luxury items are the same items that are getting made in China by, if you're buying the purse at Target or if you're buying the purse at Louis Vuitton, both being made maybe even in the same factory in China, and then being brought back and have the finishing touches put on wherever. Now, I even heard one step further, is that they take Chinese laborers from China into, let's say if it's in France or Italy or whatever, back to France, and then they have like sweatshop conditions in France for these Chinese laborers, so they can still pay them next to nothing and still charge the exorbitant prices for these goods. Like, the whole idea of luxury items is so stupid to me. It's so stupid to me, because what is to stop somebody from counterfeiting it in China, because it's basically made in China, shipping it? Now they're going to charge, $100 extra or whatever that they're going to do for shipping processing. And then you're going to get it for 100 times less than you would pay for the real thing. Dude, like that whole that whole segment is absolutely stupid to me. Absolutely stupid to me. So I think it's kind of interesting to see it kind of falling apart. People waking up and being like, I don't need to spend. I'm just using Louis Vuitton purses because I had to buy one for my wife for her birthday. I'm not going to spend $5,000 on a purse. That's the same purse that costs $50 over at Target. Yeah, such a thing. I don't know. The whole luxury items are such a scam to me.
In Italy, made in France or whatever, and gives you a bit of a perception of high quality when in fact China is doing most of the legwork. And so with these reels, with these sort of expose videos, China is now able to sell directly to consumers the same quality, same everything. It's just that consumers are finding it significantly better and cheaper to import it directly from China. So China, what used to be a manufacturing hub for most businesses, is kind of opened the doors to become a direct to seller market for all these items. So that obviously creates a little bit of this paradigm shift among consumers as well. I mean, you have no idea how my feed's been flooded with so many videos over the last like 24, 48, 72 hours of China just showing everything with regards to the handbags and the luxury items that they're manufacturing. So
Dude, but I can get on with that. I think breaking down the mystique of luxury items, I'm all for that. Take that stuff down, right? The person who's going to buy a $25,000 Rolex versus a $25 Timex, pretty sure both of them tell the same time of day. I'm pretty sure both of them tell the same time of day. And if you want to pull out the strap and you look at the Timex and the Rolex and you're like, huh, this one costs 1,000 times more than this one and it does the same function, I can't get behind that. I can't. I'm way too practical for that.
there is, some significant trade escalations. And, like I said in my previous updates, it's not just the U.S. who has the upper hand. China's the only country that can stand up to the U.S. And unless these trade war de-escalates in some fashion where there is some kind of negotiations or compromise or concessions, or we're moving in the right direction, the markets are going to find it very difficult to move higher. So as I mentioned in my previous videos, timeline and severity is what's really going to matter. If this prolongs for a long time, if the severity continues to increase, in other words, escalates, then this market is not done yet from a point of selling off, where we could be seeing more potential downside. But if the timeline is short, in other words, weeks and months, we get a resolution, we get some kind of compromise, some kind of negotiation, and the severity is not as high as where we are right now with triple-digit tariffs on both countries, then there's a possibility the markets start to rotate back up, sees that as a huge positive sentiment. Now, that's exactly why this is a very qualitative-driven market, and a lot of the analysts and strategists will try to put together data points and statistics, like I also do, but we can't just rely on quantitative metrics to figure out what the future for the market looks like. And I'll tell you why. We did our analysis on volatility, right? Tom Lee did an analysis on the VIX. In fact, I think he even was talking about something very interesting with regards to volatility right here. So he tweeted, interesting, and this was S&P 500 falling last week when the VIX fell more than 7. This is odd and has only happened one other time since 1990. April 3rd, 2020 was the last time it happened, and that was the bottom for COVID. Now, again, the reason why a lot of these quantitative metrics are not going to work in this market environment, although they are very good to know and they're very good historical analysis and studies and statistics, is because we are in a very qualitative driven market. And what that means is these trade negotiations cannot be quantified. We don't know what Trump's going to do. We don't know what China's going to retaliate with. We don't know what these tariffs are going to do to the overall global trade and supply chains. And so this is a very qualitative driven market. And when you have a qualitative driven market, there is no model, there is no spreadsheet, there is no study, there is no historical analysis that you can do to better figure out what the future holds. All that really is an understanding of the timeline and the severity of these tariffs. And if that improves, great. If it doesn't, things could get worse. And that's where we currently are. And I'll be as honest as anybody, in my sort of career should be or needs to be, is that we don't know. Right? We really don't know what the future holds. And all I'm really here to look for is a risk and reward opportunities in the market. And so if Nvidia, Meta, Amazon, Google, even Apple and Microsoft to some extent, Magnificent Seven companies and non-tech companies as part of my shopping list, if they continue to sell off, if they're looking at better and better prices, risk reward starts to get better, I will continue dollar cost average without looking at them twice. Like that's the whole idea behind investing long term, is that you find good quality assets at great prices and you don't really worry too much about the macro because nobody really has any clue at the end of the day. So these are some of the other updates that I wanted to share. So gold has hit a 55th all-time high in 12 months, and Bitcoin is officially joining the run now above $87,000. The narrative in both gold and Bitcoin is aligning for the first time in years. Gold and Bitcoin are telling us that weaker US dollar and more uncertainty are on the way. And US dollar, as I showed you guys earlier, is already falling off a cliff. I mean, it has dropped so significantly over the last few months here. Since the beginning of this year, dollar index is down over 11%. 11% it has depreciated against other currencies. I was actually surprised to see the Indian rupee against the US dollar. Just take a look at this pair. I mean, it was as high as 88. It has dropped over 3%, which again, you might not feel is a lot, but that is still, 2 to 3 rupees per dollar depreciation for US dollar here, which is significant, which is pretty significant if you just simply take a look at this chart and how parabolic it went up to. And now it's starting to really struggle on the back of these global trade tensions and escalations. So that's where we are. Make sure that you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys during.
Okay. So let me ask you what we learned from this video. What did I learn from this video is that what I learned from this video is that we're not even close to done with this stupid trade war thing, right? Granted, I'm glad that the objective is to make everything better for the US economy, potentially the world economy. But in the meantime, I don't want to have to pay anything extra, right? I don't want to have to pay for, I mean, like I've told you guys this before, everything in front of me most likely was made in China, which means that everything in front of me will most likely cost 245% more. I don't want to pay that. That sucks. No thanks. Christopher says, I like Gucci candlesticks, the green ones. Yeah, I can get behind that. Carl Dean's tube. When can we get a demo of OVTLYR 3.0? Actually, I just did like 20 minutes of that early on at the live stream. So just rewind back. That'll help you out there all the way to the beginning. Alana says, Trump is still on his golden toilet. Yes, I'm on my golden toilet. It will be the best toilet of all time. If only Joe Biden had this toilet. Bill says, I made 66% in the 2024 and the Trump 25 economy. I can barely not lose money. All right, cool. Oh, you got it, dude. You got it. So let's take a look at what the market is telling us. Let's take a look at what the market's telling us today. So first, let's look at OVTLYR. Let's go to SPY. Let's look at what the market's telling us. So we're currently sitting on a sell signal in OVTLYR 3.0. So if we click on the SPY, wait a minute, JG. If you click twice on the order blocks, it will bring up the index. Well, you gotta teach me that. Okay, there's no order block. If I click it twice, oh, and change the color. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so the market looks like it's going down. Let's add our moving averages. Let's add our 10 is blue. Add 20 is red. Or, I'm sorry, 20 is black, and then 50 is red. 50 is red. Cool. So moving averages are still pointing down. Now, Outlier 3.0 has a sell signal. So we've got a sell signal on a bearish trend. So both of that looks like the market is going to continue to go down. But if we look at market breadth, and I mentioned this earlier, market breadth is actually curled to be a bit bullish right now. And we have seen time and time again that market breadth seems to be leading the market. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. Nobody can predict what Trump is going to do. So we have bearish trend, bearish signal, bullish breadth. So for me, I'd be sitting on the sidelines till those all align. That's what I want to see. Once I can see that, once the master key is unlocked, which is so easy now because it tells you right here if it's a bullish or bearish master key unlock, then I would be interested in getting in. But right now, both of those are locked up. So listen, Outlier 3.0 is live right now. Be sure to go over to outlierdeal.com so you can get entered to win a free year of Outlier and $1,000. We have nearly 9,000 entrants so far. Isn't this crazy? Top prize is $1,000 and a free year of Outlier 3.0. First runner-up gets $200 worth of merch and my 5 favorite trading book bundle. Second runner-up gets $150 worth of merch and my 5 favorite trading book bundle. And this is us celebrating the release of Outlier 3.0. Absolute game changer. So be sure to click on one of these recommended videos that YouTube is popping up, and I recommend you have a fantastic afternoon. Be sure to come to this afternoon's live stream because Mahesh will be there with us explaining all the new upgrades.